Well, right now I'm in the Santa Monica Yahoo Esports studios to talk to D1 about Smash, because Smash is awesome, growing, huge thing. That's what I hear anyway. That's
Yeah,
true, right? All right.
Smash is getting really big, really fast as well. We're getting a lot of coverage nearly everywhere, and I mean, it's a great pleasure to be here in the Yahoo studios as
Yeah,
well.
thank you. Just keep plugging the Yahoo studios so that everybody who's new to this content, they know where we're at. So Smash 4 in an interesting place right now, where two new characters got introduced to the game, Bayonetta and Corrin. What's kind of the deal with these guys? I hear that Bayonetta is very OP.
Yeah, Bayonetta is a pretty interesting character. The funny thing is that her grab range isn't the best. Her jab has really slow startup, one of the slowest startups in the game, 9 frames. Yet her damage output is what makes her really ridiculous. And a lot of her moves have low cooldown, so it's kind of hard to find ways to, like holes in her design. Another thing to also take into consideration is her witch time. So when she does her witch time, you're basically frozen for a short amount of time, which allows Bayonetta to use her like really damaging attacks with high knockback numerous times, not just once either, which makes her pretty scary in comparison to many other characters in the game.
All right, so I mean, I haven't had a chance to play her, but if you ask some of my friends, they all say like she's ridiculous. Do you feel that way? Is that she's definitely on the higher end of the characters?
Oh, she's definitely top tier material in my honest opinion. The fact that she just racks up so much damage quicker than many other characters do in the game, and it's still kind of hard to find a way to actually punish her witch time, which is kind of like a counter, and the payback you get for using it is so great that I don't know, it's going to take a while for some players to figure out how to beat her, but once they do, we're going to hear less complaining on social media, hopefully.
All right, hopefully. I also haven't. I've only played one Fire Emblem game, so I don't know much about Corrin. But what is the deal with Corrin?
So Corrin is a character that was introduced into Fire Emblem Fates, the latest Fire Emblem game that just came out, and Nintendo did not pay me to plug this. So in Japanese, it's Kamui, Corrin in English, and there's a male and female version. The cool thing about this character is, I wouldn't say the character is OP, but it feels like a balanced kind of character. The recovery isn't the greatest, but it does have some sort of armor. Like you basically could just like plow through attacks if you time it correctly. And she kind of has this interesting thing where she can like thrust her sword into the ground, and she has many different options from it. She can jump, she can go forward towards the opponent after piercing the spear into the ground, or go in the opposite direction away from the opponent as well. It's really interesting seeing her transform from dragon, or him, transform from
Him
human.
or her, right? I guess.
Him or her, yeah. Transform from human to a dragon. And I have yet to see any Corrins stand out as much, but there's some players who are showing promise, but nobody really winning any major tournaments yet. Okay. But we're still waiting on that.
Maybe down the line. Maybe a little bit harder to approach than Bayonetta?
I would say there are a couple moves that Corrin has that can make her hard to approach. She has this back aerial where if she jumps in the air and you see this wing come out, she kind of moves away from the opponent after doing it. So it's kind of hard to punish her. I'd say the best way to classify Corrin's tier is maybe like high or mid, like just like I said before, a fair character.
Okay.
Not too outstanding, but viable enough to be used in tournament for sure.
So alongside that, one of the interesting things that I guess has come out recently is that it sounds as though Nintendo is now done with Smash 4. The balance is done. They feel very confident in it. What has been kind of the reaction in the community to that news, and maybe even your personal opinion on just like is the game balanced? Is it good, or would it benefit from more patches? I mean, what's been the reception to this?
So a lot of people have been getting pretty upset at the fact that they couldn't quite beat Bayonetta like in the first 2 weeks after her release. But I feel deep down inside that I'm really happy that there are no more patches, because this will give us an opportunity to finally see some consistent placings from players, right? All these patches made certain players who used to be dominant with a certain character now like really bad results after entering the tournament post-patch with their character. Perfect example being Diddy, right? A lot of Diddy mains back then used to do really well in tournament. Now the only player that actually does well with Diddy in tournament is Zero, who also dual mains Sheik for bad matchups.
Right. Well, speaking of Zero, can't talk Smash 4 without talking about Zero. Zero's an interesting figure because I know he has lost one tournament, right?
Yes, this was at MLG and MLG New Orleans World Finals last year in October 19th, I believe.
Okay. So, but besides that, it's hard for me to think of too many other esports figures that have shown as much dominance in their title or their game as he has. What do you think it is about him as an individual, or maybe even about Smash, that allows him to just have this like extreme confidence and performance every single tournament?
I have to say, Zero is just one. He's. It's really hard to describe Zero. He's actually a prodigy. You know, the man. Well, he is an adult now, right? Almost.
Something like sometimes it's hard to tell in esports.
Right?
Yeah. Where's the line?
But I will have to say, the fact that he taught himself English playing The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is that kind of speaks for itself, right?
Yeah.
This guy is amazing at almost everything he does. Before Smash 4 came out, he actually used to play Melee competitively and did really well in Melee. He was regarded as one of the top 30, top 20 best players in Melee back in 2014 when he used to play. So I think at MLG Anaheim in 2014, he did really well for himself in Melee as well. But from there, once Smash 4 was about to come out, he told himself, I'm going to focus solely on this game and try my best to be the best in this game. And that he did. The first major tournament that he won was Apex 2015. And from there, he just kept knocking down everybody who came his way, tournament after tournament. Even if Sakurai tried his best to nerf his best character, he said, I will do the necessary research to figure out how to overcome any hurdles that come my way, even if it means picking up another character, which he did in Sheik. And even if he lost to Liquid Nairo in the fourth quarter of 2015 last year, he bounced back, took Genesis 3, and he's still on the path to victory. He's not giving up yet. He's actually my roommate as well. Every time I go downstairs, I see him in front of his Wii U, and he has his computer set up next to him, and he's always doing research. And he'll have, whenever top players come over to visit, he'll ask them to sit down and play, and he'll take notes, and he'll try to remember as much information as he can so he can take that into the next big tournament and make sure he wins that one.
I mean, it's just a very impressive figure, I think. So it's really, really cool to hear. You know, also, you know, we talked about Smash 4, but obviously there's this whole other side of Smash, which is Melee. I think it's interesting because if you look at all these different esports titles out there, there are none that really kind of have to share the space with somebody else in the way that you see Smash have both Smash 4 and Melee. What do you think about that? Is that a good thing to have, or would the esport benefit from everybody being in one category or column than the other, or do you think that this is actually something really unique and interesting? I mean, generally, what are your thoughts on the division, right?
So I actually think it's something that's good for the scene because at the end of the day, as much as people want to put us all under that Smash Brothers umbrella, which we are the Smash community, there are sub-communities underneath. When you check out players that sign up for Smash 4 and Melee tournaments, there isn't that much of a crossover. Like, it's a very small percentage. And once we realize that, we're like, all right, it's time that we, stop trying to force either players of different camps to try to join and become one scene under one game. Let's just recognize the fact that there are diehard players for Melee because Melee was out for a long time, almost died too. It was nearly on its deathbed. We came back thanks to the documentary Evo 2013 and the efforts of many dedicated members of the scene. The game finally came back, and we don't want to see it ever be on its deathbed ever again. We're trying our best to keep that game alive. So to have Smash 4 come through, I'm open to actually having the Smash 4 scene thrive as well, because there's a story about the Brawl scene where there were many dedicated players that love Brawl. Then Brawl died the moment Smash 4 was introduced, and it was almost as if the Brawl players were forced, their hands were forced. They're like, hey, new game, the engine's sort of similar, couple tweaks here. You're just gonna have to play this game, and they all just jumped over to the new game. And there are some players who don't necessarily like Smash 4 as much as they love Brawl. Some of them feel like they still have unfinished business with the game, but they they decided to just play Smash 4 anyway. As far as Melee is concerned, with all the top players that are in Melee, with the rich history that that game has, it would be a sin to just get rid of Melee like that. And a lot of people know that with all the promotion that Nintendo has done for Smash 4, that it's not going anywhere anytime soon either. So
Right.
the best thing we can do is just have both scenes stay alive. And it looks like Nintendo's not trying to stop the Melee scene from happening either. I know there was a misconception with Evo and 2013 and the whole not streaming it, but from there we've been having a lot of partnerships with Nintendo at events that just passed, even Genesis 3, the best Smash tournament we had recently. So I think we have a really good future ahead for Smash with Melee and Smash 4. So
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't think there's any reason to split.
it sounds as though all the major tournaments now have both sitting next to each other, right?
Yes.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Just kind of rounding everything out, I'd love to know what is ahead for, maybe somebody who's played Smash in the past, maybe they don't know what tournaments or what big events are coming up, but what is, within the next month or so for Smash fans?
So here's the interesting thing. Whenever the first quarter of the Smash season, the unofficial Smash season hits,
Yeah.
right? We usually have a drought. There'll be like a big event in January. That usually it's Apex. This time around it was Genesis. Then after that was Beast 6 in Sweden. Just happened this past weekend. Amazing event with I believe Armada taking first place, and Ramen Mr. R of Lowland Lions taking first place in Smash 4. So for March, it seems like there aren't too many events, like major events. There always going to be weeklies and even community-ran regional events.
Right.
But I'd say the next biggest thing on a lot of players' radar and fans alike is going to be Pound 6. This will be, if I'm not mistaken, in April. So Pound 6 might be the next event to look forward to. There'll also be the Come Up in Canada. That's going to be another big one. CEO, hosted by Alex Jabali. That's going to be another great event to look forward to. I always love going to Florida just for his events. He always has them in a nice resort.
Yeah.
It's
Those are the best
yeah,
events to cover. I
that's what I'm
agree.
saying.
Like,
Yeah.
let's find a nice resort and hit all the Smash and esports events in those. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like there's so much exciting stuff happening in Smash. It's always fun to sit down and talk to you or someone else who, is part of this, because it's so neat to see sort of the transformation that's taken place in Smash in just such a short time. So is there anything that, a fan might be able to find you in, or find you, I don't know if you stream or if you do the YouTube stuff, like anything you'd like to sort of promote here?
So before we get into any shameless plugs, I would love for you guys to check out smashboards.com. And we try our best to basically raise the visibility of the Smash Brothers scene through that website. So please check that out, along with our Smash Bros, the Smash Brothers subreddit. So after that, I guess it's time for me to get into my spiel. So guys, please follow me on twitter.com/xd1x. Hopefully one day Rod Veloso will, hook me up with that verified check. It's not a blue check. People keep calling it a blue check. It's actually a white check and a blue circle. Anyway, so youtube.com/d1mx, and last but not least, twitch.tv/xd1x. Thank you, and feel free to reach me on Twitter or any of the other websites if you have any questions, as I am Twitch's Smash Bros Community Program Manager, and I'm doing my best to help grow the scene through my popularity, through all the connections that I have, and through all the experience I have in Smash Bros. So I'm here to help bolster the growth of the Smash Brothers community to the best of my ability, and I will need your help in order to do that.
There you go. Well, thanks so much again for coming in. Great to get insight into the Smash scene, and looking forward to the next couple months as we get some of these bigger events out. For everyone else, you can check out more esports coverage at yahoo.com/esports.